Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fearlessly Authentic. I'm your host, Jody Harrison Bauer, and it is always so nice to have you here with me every single week. I cannot wait to introduce my guest for this show, but before I do, I have to remember to remind you to please rate, review, and subscribe. I love hearing from you. 100 countries are listening to this show right now. And I love hearing from all of you. So please keep the emails coming, the DMs, everything. I love to hear from you. And please rate, review, subscribe, save, and share with your friends. Thank you. And then the next thing is one of the things that I love so much about this show is when I hear from somebody who says they learned something every single week, because the purpose of this show, as you heard in the intro, is that I was afraid to take risks. And to be fearlessly authentic takes a lot of work. And I don't know if we're ever completely fearlessly authentic, but the main aim of this show is to educate you, empower you, entertain you a little bit, and inspire you so you can live a fearlessly authentic life. So the guests that I have on the show are men and women who have either created a product or a service that will help you become your fearlessly authentic self, or they have overcome some obstacles. They are now fearlessly authentic. So please keep listening. And I can't wait to share the knowledge of my guests here today. And one last thing, something I've been sharing every single week with you is that it's almost a year and a half ago that I turned 60. So I'm now 61, and I decided to go more plant-based. And I found a company that has really helped me tremendously because I don't like to cook and I don't know the first thing about how to create a plant-based meal. So I have been using a company called Sakara, and they have a code for you to try their food as well. So they deliver food directly to your home. They also have other products, but everything is plant-based. And I just love the way I feel. So I would love for you to feel great too. So you can use my code XOJody to save 20% off. Go to Sakara, that's SAKARA.com to save 20% off on your first purchase. And please let me know how you like it. So that's it for everything starting the show. I'm going to introduce my guests. I first want to welcome you, Dr. Dan and Stacy. Welcome to Fearlessly Authentic.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, I'm so excited. So I'm going to give my listeners a brief introduction about both of you. Dr. Daniel Yadegar is board certified in both internal medicine and cardiovascular disease and has had advanced fellowship training in age management and integrative medicine. Dr. Yadegar received his undergraduate degree with honors from Harvard University and his MD from Weill Cornell Medical College. His clinical focus is on preventative and personalized medicine, leveraging his knowledge of what is most current and disruptive to enable his patients to attain optimal health. A thought leader in the healthcare space, Dr. Yadegar, or sometimes Dr. Dan, has been written about in the New York Times and shared his expertise on major news networks. He is currently a clinical instructor in medicine at Weill Cornell Medical College in New York City, the founding member of the Weill Cornell Brain Health Center, and the medical director of HIH, an executive wellness center that uses and showcases leading edge technologies in Palm Beach, Florida. His approach merges science and soul. I love that. Through his understanding of leading edge advancements, Dr. Yadegar enables his patients to achieve optimal health through synergy of the mind, body, and spirit. There needs to be more doctors like you. Stacy Kestin is a lifelong entrepreneur who, among other things, has worked as a life coach for the last 30 years. In life and in business, she follows an authentic, compassionate, action-oriented approach. This is based on the philosophy that to achieve greatness, each person needs to come from their highest self, acting with intentions that flow from love, not fear. Oh my God, this is why I love you. Stacy has founded several wellness and health-related businesses over the years. This includes a medical wellness center that focuses on optimal health, as well as a life science fund that aims to reshape the future of medicine through investments in innovative and disruptive breakthroughs. Wellbel Inc. was born out of this partnership and a desire to meet a need and has evolved from a product into a beautiful movement of confidence. Stacy's current endeavor is to create a better world through building authentic relationships, genuine community, and truly caring and nurturing the well-being of that community. It allows Stacy to draw upon and utilize all of her most powerful gifts. Stacy believes that by building a foundation from within, now listen, everybody, from within, of calm and confidence, you create space. And by creating space, you create opportunities where anything can happen, including complete wellness. The spirit and energy of the Wellbel team is built on these principles. I mean, my goodness. Welcome again. I am just so grateful and honored that you are both taking the time away from your busy lives to be here. So let's talk about how Wellbel was born, because I've been using it for, I think it's 4 months now, and you could see the growth in my hair. I don't know, it's about 3 inches, 4 inches.
Pretty amazing.
So maybe one day I won't have to wear hair extensions. So who wants to start? How did Wellbel come about? Because it is an unbelievable product.
I can kick that off.
Okay.
So after I did my cardiology fellowship, I did a fellowship in integrative medicine, and I'd always fantasized about creating a supplement company, but it never really happened until, they say that necessity is the mother of invention. And my sister, who had twins, started having hair thinning. And my other sister was under some life stress. So I formulated this supplement just to see, just for fun. And we did, and it did amazing magical things on their hair, on their self-confidence, on their sense of self-worth. We gave a supplement to Danielle Bernstein at We Were What, and she also had a pretty dramatic transformation of her hair. And it soon became apparent to us that we had stumbled on something really special. We had looked at competitors in the space, and I knew that I could create a better sourced product and create a platform that could really enable people to feel confident and good about themselves as well as their hair and skin. And then we just went to market with it during the pandemic. In the beginning, like, we can all laugh about this, we were at my parents' house in Old Westbury, New York, putting labels on and zipping up the bags and shipping them out ourselves. And now we're a fully operating company with a fulfillment center. And it's crazy how in 2 years, the company has really made such an impact. And, now we're shipping, globally.
I didn't know that it was born during the pandemic, or maybe a little bit before that.
It was right during the pandemic. And I think that that's actually really salient point, because a lot of the hair loss that we're seeing is a result of stress. Lack of self-care. We're living in this world of restructuring. It's chaotic. And I think self-care now more than ever is important. And Wellbel was born during that time and concept. And I think it's very fitting to the Wellbel story that we launched during the pandemic.
So many people throw around the word self-love, self-help, self-care. It's become one of those words that people carelessly throw around. And I know, Stacy, you've been a life coach for 30 years. I've been in the fitness industry for 33 years. So we've both done that coaching, maybe a little differently, but basically we're working with somebody's mindset. And, the words like empowerment, female empowerment, mindset, and self-care, we were probably using those words a long time ago. And now I think they became big words that everybody used. And now I think they get thrown around too much. How do you feel about that, Stacy?
Yeah, well, I would say that they are thrown around. I always say that to be truly authentic, it starts from within, that we really have to be true with ourselves. And, with Wellbel, especially when we founded Wellbel, we really had to think about, are we a product or are we creating a movement in confidence? And for us, that was really important to think about, what does it mean to truly be in touch with, how we see ourselves inside. So we always come from within first and always come from that place.
I think, to me, that's the only way you can lead a movement, And I think that's what you are doing. You both mentioned the word confident so many times. And that's where it all starts, because if as women, we need to talk about men too, but this started out as more for women, that during that stressful time of the pandemic, none of us were, so many of us were stressed out. We didn't know where to turn. We were trying to take care of ourselves, but we were still scared. We didn't know what was the world coming to an end. We're losing our hair. For me, it's just been age that I have less and less hair, that it's not growing, but it does. You lack so much confidence when you don't feel good about yourself.
Yeah. And it really does start from within. When we talk about self-care and self-love, and we talk about how the words are thrown around, it's so much a part of our day to day and how we communicate and how we're really there to support each other as women. So often there's this competitive nature because of the insecurities that we feel,
Right.
from within. And, when we really take some time and think about how we can inspire each other and co-elevate and really bring out the best in who each and every one of us are, that's where it all starts from, because that's where true intimacy comes from. And that's where, kind of that true word of empowerment really starts, because, when we're at that place, we want to share that with others. We don't want to hold it just for ourselves.
I just love you. I mean, the things that you talk about, that you just touch upon, that are so important. True intimacy. Nobody really talks about that. And we're not talking about intimacy as just in a sexual way. And I know this isn't like what we're getting off topic a little bit, but not really, because this is all about confidence. And that intimacy starts with the friends that we have, a lover. But when we think of intimacy, it's not just with our partner that we might be sexual with. It's with friends, it's with workers, right?
Yeah, well, that's actually how Dr. Dan and I connected.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you, is how did you two meet? How did this marriage happen?
You want to take that one first, Dan?
Yeah, it was, I mean, I feel like I've known Stacy for several lifetimes. So it's kind of hard to believe that we met just 6 or 7 years ago in the West Village. We just got introduced through our work colleague, and there was an instant connection. You have those rare moments in life where you meet someone and you know that they're part of your soul tribe. And instantly I knew that her and her husband were part of my soul tribe. I joke and say that you have your biological family and your logical family. Stacy is definitely part of my logical family, and we're sort of interwoven and interconnected on so many levels. And to be able to launch a company and a movement with her has been a true honor and so much fun. And I wish everyone could have as much fun as we do at our company with Wellbel.
Wow. That's a big statement. How do you feel about that, Stacy?
Well, we always say, whether it's with Dr. Dan or with our team, and we live very true to this. If we wake up and we're not feeling joy and we're not having fun, then it's time to take a break. And we really feel that way, in this world that is so chaotic right now. People are so into, this competitive nature of where we are, what we're doing, how things are being affected throughout the world. And so, we always say, we're not doing brain surgery. Dr. Dan is as close to it as it gets.
Sounds like it.
But, for us, it's really important that the way that we lead our team within Wellbel is also the way that we treat our community at Wellbel. So, for us, we've never been a company so far. We haven't advertised and we're not on Amazon. For us, we've really built our community through taking time to get to know each other. So whenever we're tagged, we Zoom each other, we speak to each other, we learn more about who they are and share more about us, as we talked about that intimate, relationship before,
Right.
Because you know, as much as we don't want to admit it, our hair has so much to do with our confidence, and that's for men or women. And they have different ways in how they look at it, but it all stems from the same in how it makes us feel from within. So for Dr. Dan and I, when we really thought about, you know, what we, you know, what our life's work is about, it's always been about having impact. And so for us, Wellbel, it may seem like just a hair, skin, and nail supplement, but really when we talked about, when I said earlier, movement and confidence, it truly, you know, makes a difference when you connect to your community and listen to their stories and really hear how much shame they live with, as you're saying, wanting to get rid of those extensions and wanting to be able to you know, take a supplement that's vegan and not GMO and gluten-free, and, you know, and know that you can, you know, put that into your digestive system every day. And, you know, fortunately it works, right?
It does. I mean, your hair is, no, your hair looks gorgeous.
Yeah, and I'll be 60 this year, so we're talking real, so I'll be real too. But, you know, we really strive for that, to connect with our community and make sure they know that we're not just here to help their hair to look good, that we're really here to help from within. And that's where the life coaching and Dr. Dan's life's work and mission to have impact has, you know, been able to bring Wellbel to where it is today. And that's why we were able to meet Jody, because you know, you wrote that nice little thing to us and we reached out not knowing anything more than, you know, you tagged us. So,
Right.
and look where we are today because of it. So.
I know. That's why I'm so grateful, and I'm seeing the results. And by the way, so I want to get into what makes this such a great product and why people are getting results, and talk about some of the testimonials. But I just want to mention, as a user of the product, that one of the things that I loved about it the most is that with so many supplements, you get that like a repeat, like yucky after you swallow it. I don't know what it is, but it's like, it just repeats on you. I know that sounds gross. This does not do that at all. And I don't know if it's because it's vegan or what it is, but Dr. Dan, why do I not have that yucky repeat? And I could drink it with water. Normally, all of my other supplements that I take, I have to drink with a shake. That's the only way it goes down.
Or a little vodka.
No, I've never tried that. I'm a tequila girl.
Well, you know, we've sourced just such good ingredients, and we've put just the right amounts of each of those ingredients that for most people, they take it and they don't have any problems with it. So I think sourcing of ingredients and decreasing the number of capsules to 3, some companies use more, really does minimize sort of like those burpees that people get with supplements. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, that's like one of the first things that I tell people is that there's no aftertaste. Like, you can swallow it, you could drink it with water. And if you're not a good pill taker, you can take this. So what differentiates the product when you went out to create this product for your sisters? What did you want to differentiate it from, or how did you know you wanted, I know you wanted to create a superior product, but how did you know you were sourcing the right things to put in the pill to create something that worked and was easy to take?
Such a good question. So one of the things that I thought before I created the supplement was, let me put my nerd cap on and start looking at journal articles on hair and skin and what supplements actually work. I'm a pretty evidence-based kind of person and want to put science and evidence into its art form, and Wellbel ended up being that art form. So I went back to the journal, started sourcing different journal articles, and started putting together a formulation that was based on scientific research. So that was step 1. Step 2 was finding the right manufacturers who had access to the best ingredients. A lot of the companies, sometimes people use too much of a good ingredient. Everyone knows that biotin is good for hair. The truth is, if you have too much biotin, it can actually cause breakouts. So I didn't want to trade one problem.
Can you go into more detail about that? Because I remember the first time Stacy and I talked, she mentioned that, but I don't think that a lot of people understand that. I don't know. So I want to know the answer.
No, absolutely. So biotin competes with vitamin B5 otherwise known as pantothenic acid for absorption. And if you don't absorb enough vitamin B5 and you get depleted because the biotin is taking its place, you're just going to break out in acne. So I actually scaled down the dose of biotin to where it's impactful, but is not causing unwanted side effects like breakouts.
I had no idea. You know, in getting ready for the show, I was doing a lot of research about vitamins and what vitamins to take, and just a lot of, I nerded out too. I do that before my shows all the time. Need to do that. And I didn't understand why there were breakouts. There was nothing really explaining that. That blows my mind. Is that for different age groups? Is there a specific demographic?
It's for everyone, and it really depends on your vitamin B5 levels and how much biotin competes with vitamin B5. But essentially, if you're taking huge dosages of biotin and it's not allowing you to absorb vitamin B5, you're going to end up becoming vitamin B5 deficient, and that's thought to be the reason that the breakouts occur.
So all of these girls that I know who wanted to grow their hair like 5 years ago, right? Everybody was talking about biotin. Take biotin, and they were breaking out. It was because there was just too much for their body to break down, or it broke down the vitamin B5.
Or it blocked out the vitamin B5. Yeah, and biotin's not the enemy. I mean, biotin is important. It is in our formulation. It just happens to be at the right dosage.
What exactly is biotin?
Biotin is vitamin B7. It's actually a B vitamin, and it's important for hair, skin, and nail production. So it's just a building block that it's a cofactor that allows for that to form.
So the other vitamins that help with hair growth are what?
We took on a multi-system approach to the supplement. So we really wanted to, because people have hair loss for different reasons. Right. So we put together a product that would work for most people. So there's some hormonal reasons that we lose hair. So one of the things is, and let's put our nerd caps on, is that testosterone gets converted to another form of testosterone called DHT.
Right.
DHT is a bad player when it comes to hair. So when testosterone gets converted to DHT and DHT levels go up, it actually causes miniaturization of hair follicles. So if we're able to block the conversion of testosterone, which both men and women have, to the bad form, DHT, then you're able to have greater hair density. So saw palmetto is a naturally existing ingredient that blocks that conversion. So it allows you to have higher testosterone levels and lower DHT levels, which is favorable for hair.
Okay, so I'm a postmenopausal woman.
Yes.
So that's why you start having thinning hair, losing your hair, right?
A lot of it's hormonal. A lot of it has to do with changes in hormones, and DHT is part of that. DHT levels can go up when you become postmenopausal, and if you get more DHT, then it's just going to cause more miniaturization of those hair follicles and hair thinning. So we're happy to be able to jump in and block that in a natural way,
Stacy, did you want to comment on that?
It's interesting when Dr. Dan says to put on your nerd caps. We have to remember he truly is a Harvard grad cardiologist, and he has his fellowship, right, in integrative medicine. And so the thing with Dr. Dan, because he's very humble, is that he has such a soulful approach to how science and wellness intersect. So when he looked in
the two of you give me goosebumps, just by the way.
So when he really looked into the industry, what he realized is that the ingredients and nutrients that we ingest are stimulating the growth. They're like the building blocks to stimulate the growth from within. So that's why we don't need like collagen powder or more biotin, because it's like healthy food. You're taking ingredients
and the building blocks.
Those building blocks to stimulate that growth. And that's why it's truly hair, skin, and nails. And I think something that's so important when you talked about differentiating Wellbel from others is that so often stress is not our friend either. And it's extremely confusing when you're looking and there's 5 different products for the same reason. And so you think, okay, this one's for menopausal, this one's for postpartum, this one's if your scalp is, is itchy. And this one is if you're, having anxiety and want better hair. And the one thing that Dr. Dan does so brilliantly is really looking at his ingredients and saying, what are those ingredients for all hair textures, for all hair textures and all ages. So it's one product for all. And because we see ourselves as a global community, and we don't mean that just because we ship international, all hair textures are different throughout the world, throughout all cultures. So for us, it's something we're very proud of, that our product, Wellbel, truly works for all, so that if your hair, some people see it as curly, and that curly hair won't grow the same. Where other people feel like, for me, as you get age, I was really balding here. I had really little hair, and now that's all grown in, and this is
So beautiful.
all hair. And it's thicker.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's
Wellbel hair. It's like bouncy. And, so I only share that because, Dr. Dan is humble about how he really came to build this ingredients and the nutrients, because you're on something for longer than 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. Did you want to say something, Dr. Dan?
Yeah, I did. And one of the sort of bonuses is that the ingredients that are in Wellbel have other benefits beyond just hair, skin, and nails. There's vitamin B12, there's vitamin D. And I love the fact that there's other health benefits that come from taking Wellbel that may not be physically apparent, but sort of working on your inner biology to make you be in better health.
I want to get into that more because I don't think that's what everybody understands. And if you're listening and you've just heard Wellbel for the very first time, I really want this podcast, this show, to educate you. So if you are a person who needs this product, or somebody who needs it, that you understand exactly what you're getting with this. And I don't believe any product. And I started using this product and it works, you guys. So we are going to take a break. And we'll be back in a few minutes with Dr. Dan and Stacy from Wellbel. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fearlessly Authentic, where I have the Wellbel marriage of Dr. Dan Yadegar and Stacy. Why don't I have your last name in there? Oh my goodness, I just know you as Stacy from Wellbel. Stacy Kestin. Sorry, Stacy. My goodness. Anyway, we were talking about the ingredients that are different for Wellbel than the other products. So what really differentiates you? What is in Wellbel that's making it work for so many people around the world?
Yeah, I love that question. So I think to start and to reiterate, it's the right ingredients at the right dosages with the right pairings. So we have the right ingredients in one formulation. There are some ingredients that I think give it a secret factor or an extra factor. I think MSM is one of those things, not very much used, but super safe. It's used actually for arthritis out of all things, but it actually helps keratin formation, and keratin is super important for skin and nails. And we talked about saw palmetto. People don't really realize that vitamin D plays an important role for all aspects of your body. Vitamin D is actually a pro-hormone, important. And as a cardiologist, I can say this, it's important for your heart health, for your brain health, for your immune health, and certainly important for your skin and nails. And a lot of us, now that we're much more of an indoor society, don't get enough vitamin D. And having optimal vitamin D levels does help with your results as well.
So all of these ingredients are in your product.
Yes.
And there is a lot of talk about vitamin D because so many of us have been inside for like 2 years.
Yes.
And I started taking vitamin D maybe 10 years ago, but that's what I always lacked because I was wearing sunscreen.
Right.
Right. And that, do you see that with a lot of people?
Of course. And, if you think about it, when we were hunters and gatherers, we were out and about all the time. They didn't have sunscreen. Right. So what's supposed to be physiologic is the amount of sunlight that they got back then. But we've become an indoor society. Yes. And we've become essentially, I think 2/3 of the world is essentially vitamin D deficient. And the more research that's done on vitamin D, we really realize the health benefits and how important it is. And vitamin D is very difficult to get from food. So supplements help, being out in the sun helps. And the one thing I always tell people, vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. So you need to take it with food in order to properly absorb it.
Oh,
Don't take
good.
it.
I
Yeah,
do that. But
good.
is it okay to take the Wellbel pills with water, or should we take it with food?
I always recommend people take supplements with food in general.
Okay.
It can just only help the absorption.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going back to the vitamin D, because I remember my internist calling me up with blood results many, many years ago. And he says, Jody, I know you don't eat red meat and you have a very clean diet. He said, but you're low in vitamin D. And that's when I started taking supplements, because I don't eat red meat and I do wear sunscreen. So it is very hard to get it from the foods. So for everybody listening, you need your vitamin D, men and women. Everybody needs the vitamin D, correct? I don't want to be a doctor here. I'm only
Uh,
married to one.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Dr.
Stacy?
Yeah, I think it's important that Dr. Dan was very mindful, because he knows that everyone takes that, or should take vitamin D, to put the right dosage. When he talks about the dosage, he has the highest potency of the ingredients with the right dosage. So for vitamin D, he has the right dosage, which still allows us to take our vitamin D outside of Wellbel. Whereas with biotin,
Okay.
right amount of biotin, where you could not take any other biotin outside of Wellbel.
I love that. I love that point. So the fact that I'm the only one here interviewing you, so I can only use myself. So if I'm taking vitamin D, it's totally, or anybody listening taking vitamin D, it's okay to take Wellbel in addition to it.
Absolutely. And the reason I know that is that I have checked so many vitamin D levels, and not a single person has ever gone above the upper limit of what's considered normal. If anything, it's just helping you get into that healthy range.
How
So
did you know? So Stacy, you've been a life coach for 30 years. So you know that when we compare ourselves, we always lose, right? In a comparing game. So when you were doing your research, Dr. Dan, how did you know what you had to compare what you were going to create with what was out there? And you knew that if you added these certain ingredients at these levels, it would be a superior product.
part of it is science. Part of it was going and looking at the literature and doing my homework. And part of it was intuition and trying it out and have people try it out and see how they reacted to it. We didn't fully go to market until we had a good number of friends and families try it. So between the research that I did, my intuition, and having friends and family try it, we had a pretty good understanding of the product that we were dealing with, and we were excited to get it out there so that people could enjoy the same benefits.
And in
So
addition,
no. I wanted to ask you about intuition, Stacy, and confidence. And what does that take for somebody to create something, have that intuition, and you trusted him to go and create this product?
What I trusted first was how he analyzed different products, in the sense of what ingredients, were in different kinds of products, and to really think about, if you can't digest it, why would you take it?
Right.
And so, when he talks about intuition and science and how that comes together, for us, it was, for me, first of all, I know the integrity and transparency that Dr. Dan lives his life with. So it was a natural for us to create a supplement that we knew was something so needed out there, but also that we, to be able to continue taking for a year or 2 years, or as long as you choose to stay on it. So that was really important, because we don't know otherwise. We normally don't even know how to read the ingredients. Number one, you can't even see the back of them anymore. I can't read them without my glasses very carefully.
Yes.
But we don't really know what they mean. I mean, so many things.
Yes.
For Dr. Dan, it was extremely important to be authentic about what these ingredients are, and each one should be very understood.
And the other thing, if I may add, is that sometimes you look at the back of these supplements and there's like a gajillion ingredients.
Yes.
And what I really wanted to do was put high impact ingredients and keep the ingredient list fairly small, because at the end of the day, if there's 50 different things in there, you don't know how all those things are going to interact with each other. So we kept the ingredient list pretty short, but wanted maximum impact.
Yeah, I love that. I think that so many people don't read the labels, even though we're told we should, and then we just trust. And, you know, I had read so much about your company, even though it was still young, right? But it was all just amazing results. So I wanted to ask you why you created this just for women. I know that you said you created it with the intention of your sisters using it, given what was going on in their life. Is that the reason you created it for women, or did you feel women needed it more?
I think, the natural evolution of Wellbel started with women. It was first my sisters, and then Danielle used it. And we wanted to get one single product to work really well and to get in the hands of people who can use it. And naturally, out of that, a lot of husbands, boyfriends, significant others were like, wait a second, the women are getting benefit from this. Why can't you guys create a men's product? So secretly and behind the scenes, we've been working on that. And yeah,
That's
that's
exciting.
something that we're excited about as well.
If a man wanted to use this product, could he?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what's going to differentiate? Could you talk about the men's product, how it differentiates from the women's?
There's a couple of ingredients that you'll see once the men's product comes out. That's
Okay.
just a little bit of fine tuning of the
Okay.
women's product. It's very similar, but there's a couple of additional ingredients. There's one ingredient in particular that I've increased the dosage on, and I've a lot of confidence, similar confidence around the men's product as well.
How did the two of you come up with this great name?
Oh, I can take that one.
Okay.
Jody, you're gonna laugh.
Oh,
So
no.
in the days that I was having those fantasies about creating a supplement company, a lot of people were dealing with stomach issues and digestive issues. And I was gonna put together like a proprietary, like probiotic, prebiotic, digestive enzyme supplement to help people with their gut health. And the name that we were gonna go with was Wellbelly. And Wellbelly was actually Wellbelly with a Y at the end was actually taken. So we made it Wellbel. And then we pivoted to this hair and skin and nail supplement. And the funny part is that it's very fitting, because if you think of this wellness from inside, to out, and Bell has to do with like the root of like Bella, to feel, beautiful. So it actually works really well, and we stuck with it.
I love the name because it's just different. And I kind of thought it was a mesh between the word well-being.
Yes, and well-being.
I don't know, even though there's no E in being, but I just love that. And I love the simplicity of what it is. You just look at it, you know what it is, and there's really nothing to figure out. When I first started taking it, I just was focused on the fact that it would help me grow my hair, hopefully grow, whether it was going to grow longer or grow thicker or be fuller, because I've always had fine hair, and going through menopause, my hair just stopped growing. But I've gotten people saying to me that my skin looks really good. And I thought, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I couldn't think of it. And then I realized it was Wellbel, and I wanted to ask you about how does that affect your skin? Stacy, if you want to answer that.
Dan?
Or okay.
I mean, the bottom line is that everything's connected. So your hair, your skin, your nails, they're all a representation of your nutritional status, your inner biology. And if you think about it and zoom out, it's really interesting to think that your inner biology and what you consume can impact your outer appearance. And that's something that I think was really central to the way we thought about Wellbel is, and if you zoom out even more, that the actions you choose, the choices you make, the intentions that you hold have an impact on your overall health. So, wellness is not within the bubble of just taking supplements. Getting good sleep matters. stress management matters, staying away from toxic people matter. All these things are interrelated. And at the end of it, the sum total of all your decisions are going to be the expression of who you are. Your skin, hair, and nails are just an expression of who you are and the choices you make. And when you make high vibration choices, good ingredients, good thoughts, good intentions, surround yourself with good people, the outcome is going to be good. And I think it's really, really important to think of health as a multi-dimensional thing that's influenced by a lot of things. And supplements is just one part of that.
Supplements have become such a big part of our world.
Yes.
And I remember years ago being in the fitness industry, as I mentioned, that, you know, maybe 20 years ago, I didn't take any supplements. Did you, Stacy?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't because, you know, and obviously food has changed and so on. So we need to, but I always thought it was a quote unquote bad thing, but it's not. And you were going to say something and I interrupted you.
No, not at all. I mean, that is why we always, you know, when we do Zoom with our community, we do speak to them and we speak to taking our supplements. We speak about Wellbel for a couple of moments. And then what we really connect to is the stress and what else is really going on from within. Because the stress that people are experiencing from their hair issues and their skin issues, it manifests, right? So whether it's the inside out or the outside in, when what Dr. Dan was sharing, it is so important to be mindful of our stress and really be aware that, you know, when we're kinder to ourselves, when we're more thoughtful, when we give ourselves permission to not think there's anything called perfection, you know, when we're just being real and keeping it real and, you know, not trying to live, you know, not our highest vibration, which is being truly true to yourself. And I go back to not being perfect only because I think that's such a, you know, big issue with the, you know, young women today. You know, they all with social media and everyone's on it. And so their looks and what they say and how they say it, it becomes such a part of their every word and every being. And they get lost sometimes in that. So when we speak as being a life coach also, we really bring that to our community, trying to really work with them on, yes, our supplement is going to, it works, it's going to help. But when we really focus from the inside out as well, and we integrate it, we intersect science, wellness, emotional wellness, you know, hair journey, it all kind of ties together.
It really does. And I'm glad you touched upon the social media because there is such a need to be perfect. And when somebody is suffering maybe from bad skin or thinning hair or whatever the hair issue might be, trichotillomania, whatever, alopecia, you know, that really takes a toll on their self-confidence and self-esteem. And they use all these filters. And, you know, there's a hair filter now. Do you know there's a hair filter?
I believe it.
There's a hair filter. I had no idea. So, you know, it would be nice if we didn't have all of these filters anymore and we're just able to be. And again, we've talked about vibrating on our highest vibration, and that's when we're standing in our truth for sure. So I wanted to ask you also about, I think one of your testimonials was about somebody who underwent chemotherapy and can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, Chelsea, when she tagged us as well, and when we spoke with her, you know, first of all, she was just very grateful because her hair really couldn't grow after, you know, after her chemo, much past here. So she really was just very grateful and was sharing that on her own social media. And so when we connected with her, you know, we got into that real conversation, and she was sharing, you know, what it really felt like once her cancer journey was over, meaning when she was in remission, how she was left with many different emotions that she really didn't know how to really, you know, where to really put all of those, because people are so there and so supportive during the journey. But afterwards, it's almost like, okay, you know, we move on to the next, to the next love, to the next, you know, where we want to continue to support. So, you know, for us, Wellbel, you know, we create communities where, we can Zoom and bring different communities together to give them a safe space to talk and to share all of their concerns and to connect. And once again, as we talk about creating intimacy, there's nothing more intimate than sharing those kind of inner truths with each other.
Right. When you're very, very vulnerable.
Absolutely.
So I know that you don't advertise, you don't promote. So how do people find out about your product? I know my daughters are the ones who told me about it because one of them follows Danielle, or maybe both of them do. And so they told me about the product, but they had also read a bunch of your testimonials. But how do people find out about your product?
Yeah, well, there's no more real way than, as we say, I mean, people ask us that all the time, as if there's something more hidden than what we're doing. It's truly through building our community, and that means globally. And so, we really do have a world where people want to help each other.
Mm-hmm.
And when you give them a platform where they can do a short video for us, that's what we
Right.
ask them when they come on. If they would like to share their own story or a before and after, it's kind of powerful because people really want to connect to someone that reminds them of them. If someone has really short curly hair and someone has hair like yourself, you're not going to look at that video necessarily and say, I would like to try that product.
Right.
So we have such a wide variety of all hair textures, of all cultures, of all ages, on our feed, on our social media, with before and afters and with the testimonials, that it becomes real stories, real results. And I think that just goes viral because people believe it, they see it, they know we're transparent. And at the end, like you say, it just becomes a very authentic way to build a brand.
So you can't, Dr. Dan, this is a question for you. When you created this product, did you think that, okay, this is going to treat alopecia? This is going to treat somebody who had had chemotherapy and lost their hair. I know, Stacy, you and I talked about trichotillomania, which
Sure.
is also a behavioral thing, but you're pulling and pulling and pulling. So did you know that you would be helping people who suffered from these situations?
Not fully in the way that I know now. And it's so rewarding to be able to create a company that helps people in this kind of way. And to hear the human interest stories about patients who've gone through really toxic chemotherapies, and to be able to regain their hair and to reclaim their power in a lot of ways, and to be a part of that movement, and to sit on Zoom calls with cancer patients and to talk to patients who have autoimmune issues and hormonal issues. And there's so many different root causes of hair loss, and realize how each story is so individualized. And it's not just as simple as my hair looks fuller and I could look good on Instagram. You're really making a difference in the way that people feel about themselves, how they feel about themselves within a community, and to be part of those stories and to be able to interact with these people is just beyond flattering and beyond what I could have imagined this company is capable of doing. And I think it brings us so much joy and gratification to know that we're actually making an impact and helping people lead healthier, happier lives.
And just to, clarify, Dan's sister, Diana, who is a partner in Wellbel, I mean, one of the reasons that Diana went through her stress, she actually was having alopecia breakouts. I don't know if that's the proper way of saying it, Dan, breakouts, but, she was having alopecia where she was losing patches of her hair. So that was actually one of the first results we were able to really see was through his own sister. For the reason he created Wellbel, was we were able to really see the difference and know that it works, for that purpose.
Are there going to be any additional products to complement the supplements for the women?
Those things are definitely on the back burner. Our busy minds and our desire to make a difference are always continuing. Right now, we're looking to continue to expand the women's product. We mentioned the men's product, and I think for the foreseeable future, those two products are going to keep us pretty busy. But for sure, there's thoughts and behind the scenes conversations about possible other products, but we haven't really committed to anything just yet.
I'm excited. And I'm so grateful that I've met you both. So we are almost done. And I have a question for each one of you. Stacy, I'll start with you. What does it mean for you to live a fearlessly authentic life?
Simply to be true to myself. And, we say fearless. Like, what does it mean to truly be fearless? It means to be vulnerable. When we can be vulnerable, it means that we can, look more inside ourselves, not be afraid to share all of who we are. One of the reasons we connected, Jody, is when we got on our Zoom, we kept it real. We talked about all parts of our life. We don't just sit here and talk about what we see, what we look at ourselves on social media like this. We talk about what really matters to us, and what makes what our vulnerabilities are really our most kindest our most kindest gifts that we can explore, because through that we get to be more real with others, and then we connect more deeply, and then we become more intimate. So for me, fearless just means be vulnerable and don't be afraid to share with another person, especially on social media, what really is behind the scenes. Because when we do that, we open up our heart, we open up a floodgate for so much more connection. And connection is so desperately needed in a world today where there's so much isolation. So
I love that. Thank you. And Dr. Dan, we have 30 seconds for you to answer. What does it mean to live a fearlessly authentic life?
Well, in my mind, I like to simplify things. And I think at the end of the day, there's either fear or there's love. And I think coming from a place of love, self-love, love for the other person allows you to live fearlessly authentic and with an element of self-awareness. I think that's an important thing, that there's not enough self-awareness to pause and just to drop into your body and come from a place of just complete love.
Thank you so much, both of you. If anybody wants to get in touch with you, go to, I don't know how much time I have left, go to Wellbel, WELLBEL on Instagram. Should we just say that for right now?
Perfect.
Or
Wellbel
what?
Score.
Wellbel, WELLBEL _ on Instagram. Stacy Kestin, Dr. Daniel Yadegar, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing the beauty of Wellbel. I am so touched by everything that you said. And thank you so much for your time. And everybody, I will see you next week. And in the meantime, go live a fearlessly authentic life.